is every gymnast's dream to compete in the all-around. Dominique Moceanu first dreamed it when she was 10 years old. She struggled through the toughest injury of her life to make it to Atlanta. And then she watched as her friend Carrie Strug became America's hero. Strug helped the U.S. team win an historic first gold medal and joined them united. Dominique's new opportunity, a spot in tonight's all-around. In '92, a silver medal was America's best all-around finish in 8 years. Shannon Miller missed becoming an Olympic champion by the most narrow margin in history. 48 hours ago was the first time Shannon tasted Olympic gold. 4 years between Olympics, but a lifetime of dedication. Tonight, Shannon gets her second chance. The gymnast who took gold from Shannon, Tatiana Gutsu, had her second chance 4 years ago. A fall from the balance beam did not stop her from competing. Gutsu would win gold. Rosa Galieva would sit out. And now, in turn, Galieva gets her second chance. Simona Aminar of Romania, 16 years young, she has never been to the Olympic Games and would not be here tonight if her coach had not decided that 15-year-old Alexandra Marinescu would be held back. Tonight, Simona Aminar has been handed the biggest opportunity of her life. Lavinia Milosevic, she has only ever won Olympic bronze in this event. It's not enough for the 19-year-old. As the team leader, Milo wants gold. A gold that the team missed 2 nights ago. Dominique Dawes. 4 years later, she's even stronger. The Ukraine's Lilia Podkopaeva, world champion, the world's best. Svetlana Boginskaya. A night for second chances. A night for gold. We are here in the Georgia Dome, where there have already been 3 gold medals in gymnastics, and tonight it's time for the 4th, the women's individual all-around, the top 36 gymnasts in the world. Hello again, everybody. I'm John Tesh, along with Elfie Schlegel and Tim Daggett. And this is historically one of the most exciting nights in the Olympic Games, because before this evening is over with, we're going to know who the best female gymnast in the world is. And Tim, what we do know now is that Carrie Strug is not going to get a chance to compete because of what happened the other night. That's, as you mentioned, the vault that was heard around the world. There's Carrie. She is watching this evening up in the box, but earlier, before her ankle was wrapped, we got to look at it, and it looks painful. It's being listed as a severe sprain. She has what's called a TENS unit on it, which is electrical stimulation to numb the pain.
Well, you know, John, realistically, any of the Americans have a shot to come home with a medal in the all-around competition. Dominique Moceanu gets her opportunity because, as you mentioned, Carrie Strug's injury. But Shannon Miller, she has been there before. This young lady, 2-time world champion in the all-around. She knows what it's like to compete on the floor in intense pressure. She is cool as you can possibly be. She could very well win the competition. And don't forget Dominique Dawes. I said before the games began that this young lady could win an Olympic medal on any of the 4 disciplines that the women compete on.
And based on that gold medal performance of the women a few nights ago, any one of those 3 has really a good shot. But none of them are going to be able to get to gold without getting through the reigning world champion, Elfie Lilia Podkopaeva.
Very true. Lilia, to me, in my mind, is the total package in women's gymnastics. She has beauty, talent, grace, all the difficulty in the world. And, you know, she kind of got lost in the excitement of the team competition the other night. Of course, everyone was cheering for the American team, and the same thing's going to happen this evening. So this could work to Lilia's advantage, and we'll just have to wait and see. But she's coming in with the most important crown. She is world champion.
What's happening now is the ladies are warming up. And on balance beam, it is Dominique Moceanu who has the unenviable position of going first on a piece of apparatus that is tenuous at best, 4 feet high and 4 inches wide.
And when Bella Caroli told Dominique what event she would be starting on, she had a bit of a frown on her face. Not happy.
Bella said to us earlier today that she seems very tense but wants to do her best. We are still having problems with the landings and the pounding. It is still questionable, by the way, if Carrie Strug, whose absence has let Dominique into this competition, will be available for event finals. I spoke with her mom, and she's still not sure. Here's Dominique.
It was a high score for Dominique, 9.85 in the team optional, so just has to do the same thing.
See that wrap on her right leg? We reiterate for you that she has a 4-centimeter stress fracture in her right tibia. Whoa!
The routine was going so well. And right there you see another little balance check on her hands.
She struggled on that in the warm-ups, actually fell.
Dominique Moceanu in her first Olympic Games.
Yeah. Isn't it ironic that the dismount was solid and she had problems in the interior?
All right. Okay. Goodbye. Okay. All right. Now.
It could have been a whole lot worse.
It sure could have. This was the element that she struggled on. She started off so strong, but right here, punch front, looked like she had it, but maybe is a little under-rotated. Struggles to stay on, but that's going to be at least 2 to 3 tenths.
Carrie Strug watching. Whoa, she went through it just as Dominique did. When we spoke with Carrie earlier, she said that she and Dominique have trained together for the past 8 months, and she feels that if anybody's going to replace her, she is glad it is Dominique. Her score will be coming up next. Dominique Moceanu's score on beam, 9.6. What do you think?
Well, they took the major deduction. I think they took at least 2.5 tenths. Big mistake.
And you know, in a competition as intense as this, that's going to be hard to overcome. Some of these athletes are going to be going 9.8, close to 9.9 range.
Dina Kochetkova is going to be on uneven bars.
Remember, the Russians are coming off an emotional low after the team competition. Every team member in tears on their final rotation, the floor exercise. So this is something she has to overcome. Needs to do it for herself today.
In 2 days, she will be 19 years old. This is her first Olympic experience as well.
There's been so much hype on Gorkina on the Russian team, but I really think that Dina Kochetkova is one of the most talented on the entire Russian team. She has great execution and variety in all the routines.
Six judges from 6 different countries. The high and low scores are thrown out. The average of the remaining 4 is what will be her score.
Nice exercise, and here's the dismount. This is a double laid-out somersault. Actually holds the piked body position, which makes herself shorter and easier to flip a little bit too long, and has to take a small, teensy-weeny little hop on that landing, but it'll cost her.
Huge, stunning performance by the Americans that pushed the Russians out of the gold medal. And they were, as Elfie mentioned, all of them in tears a couple of nights ago. Lilia Podkapayeva, the reigning world champion. She'll be on vault next.
This was her lowest scoring event in the team competition, surprisingly.
Yeah, Elfie, she actually can do this vault incredibly well, but she did struggle the other night.
Right, and Dina's score 9.787 for bars.
Remember, in this competition, it's 2 vaults. The difficulty here is they're average.
Now, will she do 2 different vaults?
Well, we'll have to wait and see what number she flashes. The one she has flashed for her first vault is a very difficult one, and it is out of a 10.0.
As a defending world champion, she is one of the huge favorites here.
10.0 vault, but she's going to take a deduction on the landing.
You know, we keep mentioning these hops on the landing. It seems to me a shame that the bulk of the score is not from what's happening in the air.
Well, you know what happens is judges are human beings, and the last thing that they see has a tremendous impact on how they come up with their score. This is a great vault, though. This is going to bring in a big score, I would guess. Nice push off of the horse. Beautiful vault in the air, but that's the last thing the judges see. That's what they remember.
9.750 for the first one.
The gymnast has the option to do a different vault if they choose, but it is not mandatory in this level of competition to do a different one. It will be in the event finals.
Svetlana Horkina is about to mount the balance beam. First, we'll take this second vault. Podkapayeva.
Same one, but a much different landing. That's what she needed.
Okay, we'll give you first score when we get it. This is Horkina from Russia. Second at the 95 Worlds. A threat here for the all-around.
She is extremely innovative in all her routines, John, and this mount is wild. 4 different skills all in a row, but they're all so difficult. This will be the key for her.
Horkina has been likened to Svetlana Boginskaya of Belarus. It is also her idol. We'll get a chance to see Boginskaya, who is looking for a comeback a bit later on here.
Obviously taking full advantage of her flexibility. She has a very elegant style. Great skill right there, taking a lot of risk, full twisting elements in the beam routine.
Podkapayeva's second vault at 9.781.
Yeah, John, I would be shocked if the Olympic all-around champion for the women isn't someone who goes 4 totally solid routines here tonight.
Big routine for Horkina.
And I love the dismount, you know. Very, very different. We get sometimes cookie-cutter gymnastics, but she is so far from that term, it's not even funny, and she shows it right here. It's a double full gainard, but off the side of the beam. It's incredible.
All right, Vilya Podkapayeva's score in the second vault is a 9.812, so her average is a 9.781. We'll take you now to Gina Gojin, readying herself for an even bar. She's from Romania. In the stands is Alexandra Marinescu, who did qualify for this individual all-around, was in the top 3 from her country, but her coach elected to take her out and put in instead Simona Amanar, who is helping Gina right now get her bars ready. And they look to be in a bit of a hurry.
Well, actually, once the judges have the score for the previous gymnast, there is an allotted amount of time that they have to prepare the bars, 30 seconds, and if they're not ready, then actually they're not supposed to be able to do a routine. So yes, they do have to be very quick.
Octavian Bellew, the man who made the decision to pull Marinescu out. Amanar was the 4th gymnast who was not going to the all-around. Marinescu was. It's believed that because Marinescu trained in Bucharest for so long before coming to the National Training Center in Deva, that she developed bad habits, and Bellew is open about the fact that she is not as hard a worker as Amanar. So Marinescu is out. Amanar is in.
Gina is a very quiet athlete. She doesn't really stand out, and these routines, Tim talked about cookie-cutter routines. Well, the Romanians tend to have very similar choreography in all their routines. She does the big skills, but they're very predictable.
So here she is, 18-year-old Gina Gogin.
First big release skill. Right here.
We'll see some athletes later on that will take that reverse hex way up in the air. But that is what they do so well. They gave very few tenths away, just eking that double laid out somersault around, but she just sticks to the landing. You know, really wasn't all that exciting, but no major deductions.
So far, among the people that we have seen, the only real mistake has been Dominic Moceanu, 9.787 for Horkina. A lot of high scores. Shannon Miller is coming up on bars. We'll be back. Gina Gogin's score on an even bars, a 9.7. And now we're going to get a chance to see another American, Shannon Miller, who is excellent on this piece of apparatus. More gymnastics medals than anyone in U.S. history. 6 now in the Olympic Games, 9 in the World Championships, and in the compulsories all the way through the optionals. She was cool as a cucumber here at the Games.
I think we talked about the team competition with the U.S. athletes starting on the uneven bars, and I know that Shannon prefers to start on this event as well. It's very strong for her, but interesting, didn't score very high in the team competition, and Steve Nuno was very upset about that.
Whelan on vault. Sorry to move you so quickly around there, but it's happening 4 at once. Whelan's first vault. She is also one of the favorites here. And again, you hear the floor exercise music in the background from another athlete.
Okay, it's green.
She's one of the favorites for the all-around, and that big step on the landing, that's going to hurt. The other night, she did one of the most beautiful vaults I've ever seen in my life. That one nowhere near it.
Here's Shannon. Different gymnast today, 4 years since Barcelona. She's 6 inches taller, 25 pounds heavier. Says her size gives her more power on floor and vaults. And she has been rock solid at these games.
And you know, that's exactly what Shannon needed. Confidence building throughout the competition, and this was strong.
Whelan's second vault. Much better than the first.
That's what she was looking for. That's the vault that we saw the other night.
But she's going to have to take the first one average with that one. Let's listen in on Nuno.
Okay.
Steve Nuno.
Nice tight body and a great stick at the end. Okay. Let it go.
It was a gorgeous, gorgeous set, and of course we talk about the dismounts and the landings. The interior of the routine was very strong. She had all the difficulty. Tkachev, release skill down to the low bar. You know, she's so cool. She works so well under pressure. Take a look at this dismount. Nice, stretched out, double layout, bang.
And the thing that amazed me with that, Opie, is I didn't think that she was going to stick that dismount. It looked like she was too under-rotated, but she just held on.
Up next, Tim, Rosa Galieva. We all remember a little girl in Barcelona 4 years ago, but you did not see her in the all-around competition. Hers is the story of someone who was left behind. Up as part of a system where your life is decided by others. This happened to Rosa Galieva. Rosa is 19 now, 19 and a veteran of the Olympics and of life. When she was only 15, she helped the Soviet Union win their last medal as a unified team. Rosa, and a gymnast she spent every day with, Tatiana Gutsu. No one ever expected much of Rosa Galieva. She was the youngest of a strong, unified team. But she performed so well in the team competition that she was on her way to the all-around. Little Rosa Galieva, she had now qualified for the premier events. Or so it seemed. Tatiana Gutsu. And on that night, when the decision would be made on who would advance to the all-around, Gutsu stepped off the beam. And it suddenly appeared the favorite was finished. Rosa received the kiss of victory. Gutsu was comforted. Rosa now had her chance in the all-around, but then she was pulled out with a knee injury, an injury she did not have.
Нет, я, конечно, была расстроена, что...
Of course, I was very upset that Gutsu got to perform.
Как выступает Гутсу?
But what could I do? And it wasn't my decision, it was the decision of head coach. I couldn't do anything about it.
И когда с ней...
We even don't know what was happening. It was not easy for me to take her finale. But I made this decision because she was not psychologically ready to do that. It was very difficult for me because I was asked to bring home medals.
Galieva was a victim of the Soviet system. Medals meant honor. What was fair was not even discussed. The unified coaches even considered taking Svetlana Boginskaya out of the all-around, but she was too famous, and they were worried of a scandal. So the sacrificial lamb was 15-year-old Rosa Galieva. And if winning is everything, then the coaches were right. Tatiana Gutsu won the all-around gold medal, but not without a price.
I know maybe she feel pain. I know. We kind of didn't talk. I mean, she didn't want to talk with me, you know, because I understand her feeling, how she feeling. I understand, but it's not my fault.
Today, Rosa is looking for a chance that was once taken from her. This time in the hands of head coach Leonid Arkayev. And in a world where her life will always be decided by others, she knows in her heart the decision this time will be the right one. In the individual all-around, for the first time in the Olympic Games, Rosa Galieva now has her second chance on the balance beam. 48 hours ago, her team was crushed by the United States. They came away with silver.
When Rosa wanted to make a comeback after the '92 Olympic Games, Arkayev said no, originally. Said if you're going to make a comeback, it's just not going to be for yourself, it's going to be as a team leader.
Rosa, born and raised in a copper and zinc mining town in Uzbekistan, but her last name, Galieva, is Russian. She received her Russian citizenship in November of '95, but then she missed the World Championships waiting for the paperwork to come through. 92, her team won the team gold. Shannon Miller is currently in 7th place. Oceanu, as we have it, is already in 12th, and not everybody has gone yet in this rotation. We're still in the first rotation of 4.
Well, she's come back with a fighting spirit this evening. Great exercise.
Stay with us. Rosa Galieva's score coming up in just a moment.
NBC's coverage of the Centennial Olympic Games is brought to you by the Principal Financial Group. For over a century, your edge in retirement, insurance, and investment products. And by Pontiac, proud sponsor of the 1996 U.S. Olympic team. We are driving excitement.
Romania's Lavinia Milosevic standing facing the vault. She is not only the leader of the team, but also serves, many of us have seen, as team mother. Third at the 92 Olympic Games. One of the best and most consistent all-around gymnasts in the world. She also turned in a perfect 10.0 in Barcelona, one of only 2 of those in those games.
Remember, the difficulty on the vault event in this type of competition is 2 vaults. You want to go after a stuck landing for both. She's doing a 10.0 vault.
Well, it was a good vault. Just the smallest. We keep saying this over and over again, but this competition is going to be so close. When we get to that 4th rotation, she's going to remember that she did almost a perfect vault here. Great push off the horse, but just the slightest little movement on the landing.
She has 1 more vault to go, but let's go over to Dominique Dawes on even bars. Obviously, she and Shannon Miller are in the same rotation. She's 4.
What makes this young lady so exciting is her big gymnastics. And one of the greatest skills is about to come up right here. She takes this higher than anyone.
She has also changed a lot since Barcelona. Like Shannon, she is 5 inches taller than she was 4 years ago. Gotta be careful you don't scrape the ground.
So far, no problems at all. Only the dismount remaining right here. Full twisting double.
And now the judges will have to decide how they will score that landing.
Dawes posted one of the highest scores in the team competition. She got a 9.85, but that was with a stuck landing.
But Elfie mentioned the bigness of the routine. That skill at the top of the exercise, it's called a Hindorf. It is gigantic. Her body 4 feet above the high bar. It's tremendous.
She graduated from Gaithersburg High School in 1994, where she was a member of the honor roll. She was also the prom queen her senior year.
This is going to be an interesting score because actually what we saw from Miller was a little bit lower than I had anticipated.
While we're waiting, let's show you Lavinia Milosevic's vault. This is her second vault. Her first vault, she got a 9.762. This is the second one we're showing you now. So her average score was a 9.743.
Obviously, a huge step on the landing. That one nowhere near as good as the first one. This is not her strongest event, however. She's going to get better as the evening goes along.
Let's see if we have Dawes' score yet. We do, and it's a 9.812, so a tremendous start for the United States' Dominique Dawes. 3 more like that, and she could be the Olympic champion. Over to floor exercise now, and you've heard us talk about second chances. A 3rd chance in her 3rd Olympic Games, Svetlana Boginskaya. The goddess of gymnastics is back.
Well, she had a rough go of it in the team competition. Unfortunately, she was the weak link in the Belarusian team, but an out-of-bounds step there on the last pass is, unfortunately, a 10th off.
Should she earn a medal here in Atlanta, she would become the first since 1976 to do so, at a third consecutive Olympic Games.
At age 23, she's still performing some pretty impressive gymnastics. But small steps like this, unfortunately, will cost anyone 1/10.
She still has that flair, though, doesn't she?
Well, we will see few athletes that perform a routine with such passion as Bokinskaya.
9.6. So after the first rotation, we see that Rosa Galieva is in first place. Look at Dominique Dawes all the way up there in second. Moceanu in 17th. Miller in 8th. Svetlana Horkina will be next on floor exercise. She is tied for 4th after the first rotation, but it's very tight up there. Only 38 1/1000ths separate Horkina from Galieva, who's in first.
This is an important tumbling pass for her. She has had trouble in her conditioning of this floor routine.
An interesting finish for Horkina. When her coach first saw her, he did not want to work with her because he said she was going to be way too tall. But it just enhances the way she looks on floor.
Probably the highlight of this routine, John, along with her choreography, of course. Did you check out those eyes? Was the triple twist in the first tumbling pass. Looks very well on her. Actually, this was the second tumbling pass. She takes a step over to the side, and that's costly.
And Elfie, you know, no double somersaults in that entire exercise. Very, very interesting.
Svetlana Horkina. She injured her back in Sabai back in October following the Worlds, and she had to spend a month in the hospital. Dominique Dawes, and the news here is that after one rotation, she is in silver medal position. 13 1/1000th of a point separates her from Rosa Galieva. Now, while Horkina was performing, let's take you back to Lilia Podkapayeva and her uneven bars routine.
And this is a routine where it could go wrong for Lilia. Perhaps not her strongest, but if she can get past this event, two of her best are still to come.
She'll do a 3 release sequence in a row. Whoa, that was
big mistake.
The bent knees there, that'll cost her. Here come the 3 releases in a row. That was beautiful gymnastics, though.
So unlike Lilia, because what she does so well is she executes. Look at the toes, the stretched legs. Really unfortunate that she had to tuck her knees in that skill.
exercise score, a 9.7. Yulia Polkapayeva, after the bar routine, here she hurt her hand. Oh, wow.
Oh, we've all felt those before, Tim. Ouch.
Yeah. She's like, get away, I'll do it.
Serious blister.
Yeah.
That hurts, it stings.
She does not have another hand event left, though, so it really won't be a factor in her performance tonight at all.
Polkapayeva's score is still not up. When we see it take this long, it usually is a judge's conference.
Well, they're going to have to take at least a 10th on that tuck knee skill that she did from the low bar to the high bar.
Shannon Miller is coming up soon on the beam. We'll be back. Welcome back. Yulia Polkapayeva's score on bars, a 9.8. And now, on balance beam, Shannon Miller from the United States, who was tied for 8th after the first rotation. But it's so tight up there in the top 10 that she is only 75/100ths out at first.
Remember how she led the team. It was a major turnaround in the compulsory competition. She was solid there, solid again in the optional competition. She actually has one of the highest scores from the first 2 days, 8.6 and 9.862. So she's got to make it happen.
She only needs, I shouldn't say only because it's a high score, a 9.832. If she were to score that or higher, she will take the lead from Rosa Galieva.
Very possible.
She has the ability on this event to be almost perfect.
She scored, by the way, a 9.862, higher than that needs during the team optionals here on the beam.
And this is her strongest event, so she needs to capitalize here. It'll pay dividends as the meet progresses.
Relatively new skill for Shannon. Punch front summy. Just the dismount. It's a full twisting double back.
Shannon Miller, and she has lit up this crowd. Remember, she missed the all-around gold in Barcelona by 12 thousandths of a point.
That was beautiful. Nice job. All right, good job. All right. Yeah, good thing to be aggressive now on the floor. Okay, nice job.
That was amazing. When Shannon Miller is on, she's solid, she doesn't even move, but I couldn't believe what we saw here. Look at that foot. It could have been disastrous for her. She hung on. I don't know how she did it.
But she is a fighter like nobody's business. Look at this dismount. Super difficulty. Maybe not a perfect position on the landing, but those feet, they aren't moving.
Score is up. 9.862. Here's Steve's reaction. Huge score. for Miller at a good time.
Thank you, thank you.
Now, while that was happening, Rosa Galieva was performing on the floor exercise. And what happened to her is what's been happening over the last several days here in the Georgia Dome. With 30,000 people here in the middle of her floor routine, it got so loud she couldn't even hear her music. Remember, 4 years ago, she was pulled out of the unified team lineup. Tatiana Gutsu was favored over her for the individual all-around, so she did not get a chance to compete in the all-around, even though she had qualified for it. Trained, waited for 4 years, and here she came in here to the United States, and this happened. You'll see Shannon Miller performing on the beam at the same time Rosa's on the floor. Galieva was hearing as she was trying to complete this exercise.
And actually, many of the coaches from the foreign delegations have complained publicly about a lot of things, and mostly about the crowd noise.
All the Americans are doing was reacting naturally, but it certainly didn't help her. And now, as her score comes up, Galieva, 9637, is in tears. This is not the first time this happened to her. 2 nights ago, when one of the biggest nights of gymnastics occurred in Olympic history, Carrie Strug being carried out of the stadium, Rosa Galieva at this very moment was trying to perform her floor exercise. Put yourself in her position. And so on Tuesday night, Rosa was in tears again with her coach Leonid Arkayev trying to console her. While Shannon was on beam and Rosa was on floor, Mo Huilan was on uneven bars. But she dealt with the crowd and has thus far. Hasn't seemed to bother her.
Well, Mo Huilan, a master on this apparatus. It's a routine that is just packed with difficulty. It highlights one of the most spectacular release skills in the competition. It's coming up right here. It's called a Gaylord.
Named after Mitch Gaylord, Tim Daggett's former teammate. He used to do it over the high bar.
It's a great exercise that we're seeing. She's not done, though. As you mentioned, though, John, she is dealing with the pressure, dealing with all the noise. We've all had to compete in front of a rowdy crowd. Maybe not as rowdy as this one, though.
And so 3 different stories at the same time. And Mo Huilan score a 9-8. Still challenging for the gold. Dominique Dawes is coming up next, and she's in 2nd place. Her teammate Dominique Moceanu had a huge deduction on this piece of apparatus, but Dominique Dawes, standing in 2nd after the first rotation, is ready for her balance beam routine.
A lot of Dominique's questions will be answered very, very shortly. She has an extremely difficult acrobatic series right off the top of her routine. This is it.
Needs a 9.801 or better, and she'll take the lead away from Shannon Miller. American Shannon Miller now in the lead after 2. Got her start when she was about 6 1/2. She signed up for a tumbling class, and when she showed up, the thing was canceled. And then she was at a fast food restaurant and bumped into some kids from Kelly Hill's Gymnastics. She's been with her ever since. What do you think, guys? 9.8 or better?
That was awesome. It's got to go 9.8. Big dismount, big acrobatic series in the middle of the routine. She was dead on. Did you see her bite her lip after every big skill? She was determined.
Nice job. Yeah, nice job.
I'm sure everybody at home knows just as well as the 3 of us up in the booth here that this was just about perfect right here. 3 laid out somersaults in a row.
The chance have begun of USA before the score comes up.
And the dismount is incredible. Tumbling on the beam, full twisting, double back. She knew that was important.
She and Kelly Hill have been through so much when that gym was first started. There it is, 9.825, so she takes the lead from Shannon Miller. Dominique Dawes is in gold medal position. She has 2 more routines to go, and the best in the world challenging her. While that was going on, Lavinia Milosevic from Romania was on the uneven bars. Let's show you that performance. And now she's dealing with the cheers that Rosa had to deal with when Rosa was on the floor. Those are the cheers for Dawes.
Well, this young lady's been in pressure situations many times. She's been in numerous world championships as well as the '92 Olympic Games, so she should probably just block out those cheers. I'm sure she's not even thinking about it.
She and her Romanian team have had a hard time of it since coming here to Atlanta. They lost 2 of their key athletes. And a spot-on performance for her that earned her a 9.737. They had to compete in the team competition with 6, and you were allowed 7 athletes. So they were playing catch-up from the very beginning. Always coaching her teammates. Svetlana Volginskaya on vault.
Same troubles that she had in the team competition, and you know what's so ironic? In the training sessions, she was nailing every single one of those vaults. I think she used it all up back then.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Elfie. She actually looked so much better 5 days ago. Maybe just a little bit too tired physically. It's a beautiful vault in the air, but these 2 steps right there will step her out of medal contention.
Trying to make her comeback in her 3rd Olympic Games. She has 1 more vault. First one, 9.687.
She's chosen to do the same second vault. Of course, the women are allowed to do this in the competition. They average the 2 scores, but what she needs to improve on, obviously, is trying to stick it.
She was the '88 Olympic vault champion. Same big step. Svetlana Volginskaya in the middle of trying to make a comeback. Dominique Dawes and Shannon Miller are now way up top here in the Olympic Games. Moceanu's floor exercise is coming up.
The The U.S. women's gymnastics team made history by capturing America's first gold medal in team competition. Join us online with 92 Olympian Kim Zemeskel at www.olympic.nbc.com.
Welcome back. John Tesh with Elfie Schlegel and Tim Daggett. This is Simona Amanar, who was not supposed to be in the all-around, although her coach put her in at the last minute after taking Alexandra Marinescu out, saying that he felt that Amanar was a harder worker, even though Marinescu was the one that qualified. But as long as she was in the top 36, Amanar, she is eligible, and the coaches can do that.
She is the Romanian I would pick to place highest here.
7th after the first rotation. This is her second performance tonight.
Fighting for every landing. Remember, she had the highest score in just the optional part of the team competition. I'm sure that's what influenced their decision today's event.
She needs a high score to get out of 7th place. 9.838 will pull her into the top 3. Don't forget Dominique Moceanu. As soon as her floor exercise begins, we'll switch you over there.
So far, she's doing her job. Hasn't given away anything. Just this dismount needs to stick. Didn't happen.
Over to Dominique Moceanu. She's waiting for the score of a previous athlete to come up, and then they'll give her the go-ahead. She is in 17th place entering this rotation, but Tim, only 0.2 of a point out of first place. How is that possible?
Yeah, it's really, really tight at the top. That's what it comes down to. But she needs a gigantic routine right here. This is a good event for her. The event that could cause the most problems with that leg injury that she has. But like I said, a huge effort here for Dominique could get it done.
Whether you hear this music, it will rip this crowd out of the seats. Devil went down to Georgia as Bella Caroli watches. Harry Strug watching.
Out of bounds, John. She steps out of bounds, already a 1/10 of a point.
Good job. No. That was a face good. Yes, very good. All right.
What a story. 2 nights ago, it was Bella who was carrying Carrie Strug in for her gold medal ceremony. It was her injury that allowed Dominique Moceanu to come in here and compete in the individual all-around. She would need a 10.0, a perfect score, to pull into the top 3. And that's not going to happen because of the out of bounds.
No, that's not going to happen, as we well know. You know, there were a lot of smiles out there. I happened to catch Bella on the sidelines. He was smiling throughout the entire routine, and she really did give a gutsy performance because she had a huge smile on her face. But this is nothing to smile about right here. Unfortunately, at this level, you just cannot afford those.
rest of it was good. No. Nurse was nice. Face was happy. Good. No. All right.
During that Moceanu performance, Russia's Dina Kochetkova was on the balance beam. We want to show that to you. She was in 4th place, tied with her compatriot Horkina after the first rotation.
This is her forte. She's world champion, and she scored a high of 9.825 the other day in team competition.
You can hear the crowd clapping to Dominique Moceanu's floor music.
She takes a lot of risk in this balance beam routine, a lot of full twisting action.
Super high difficulty tumbling run there.
Amazing that she could keep her concentration during Moceanu's exercise and the resultant crowd.
Very difficult combination here. I said there'd be a lot of twisting action. Totally unfazed by this crowd this evening. That's why she's world champion.
And for that routine, she received a 9.825. Simona Amanar's score on balance beam was a 9.725. And clearing up the rest of the scores here, Dominique Moceanu, her score in Florex, a 9.687. That will not likely dig her out of 17th place. But the crowd is applauding our first place American after 2 rotations, Dominique Dawes and Shannon Miller. Miller is tied for 2nd. Don't go away, we're still deciding the gold. Back here in the Georgia Dome, 30,000 fans strong. They're deciding the women's individual all-around gold, silver, and bronze medals. And the Americans are doing quite well. Did I say quite? Dominique Dawes is in the lead after 2 rotations. Kelly Hill, her coach, who has been her coach since the very beginning. Shannon Miller is tied for 2nd place. So a terrific showing at this point in time by the Americans. Dominique Moceanu, off of a rough beam routine, is back in 15th place. So a look at the standings. Dawes, Miller tied for 2nd, Moguilan and Podkapayeva.
Still to come from the Centennial Olympic Games, the completion of the all-around. The Mag 7 earned team gold. Now Miller, Moceanu, and Dawes chase individual glory, seeking the title world's greatest gymnast. NBC's coverage will continue following your local news.
This fall, Brooke Shields as you've never seen her before. Or we could just put her in a funny show after Seinfeld. Suddenly Susan, NBC Thursdays this fall.
Before we go back to the Georgia Dome and the women's gymnastics all around this note, we'll have an interview with the President and Mrs. Clinton, the first fans here in Atlanta tonight, taking in gymnastics and swimming. That's coming up a little later in the show. Also, this schedule note, gymnastics returns on Sunday and Monday with the individual apparatus finals for both women and men. Now let's rejoin Elfie Schlegel, Tim Daggett, and John Tesh.
Standings after 2 rotations of 4. Dominique Dawes in 1st, Miller in 2nd. And Dominique Moceanu is back in 15th place, so Dawes is our leader. No, wait. This is our leader. President Bill Clinton, his wife Hillary, he on Tuesday, actually it was yesterday after Tuesday performance, called Carrie Strug and wished her congratulations. And then after watching a tape on the airplane said, I better get to Georgia and watch this gymnastics because it's hot and anything can happen. So here he is with, I might add, a great seat to see our other leader, Dominique Dawes.
Not at all surprised that Dawes is doing so well. She had the second highest optional score in team competition, and you know something? She's on her last two very strong events. She can post some big scores.
Floor exercise is next for her. Shannon Miller. 4 years ago, she missed an Olympic gold by the most narrowest of margins. Right now, she is tied for second place behind Dominique Dawes. Mo Huilan, China's brightest star, is going to be on beam while Shannon is on floor. And it has been horrible for some of the other gymnasts to compete while the Americans are competing. We did not see this in Barcelona because for gymnastics anyway, it was sort of a neutral country.
Well, let me tell you something about the floor exercise and Shannon Miller. She's one tough competitor, but this opening tumbling pass is her major concern. Remember, in the team competition, she took a 2/10 deduction, almost put her hands down. Steve Nuno moments ago was saying, be aggressive, go bigger, go higher, and he's talking about this first tumbling run.
Miller is ready.
Was the same thing that she did in the team optional.
She stepped out of bounds, John. Stepped out of bounds. That's an additional 10th deduction. This is not the routine they were looking for.
There were two other mistakes that they could have taken some deductions on, and most likely will.
Okay.
She knows it.
Had that step out. Did you see it? Did you see it? Okay, just leaned it back a little bit. All right? Wind it? Okay. All right. There was a little bit of double layout in the beginning. They had a little trouble in every pass. Just a little slow. We're really going to have to get going and ball, okay? All right, take a rest now, all right? Hey, get your breath. Get your breath here. Okay, you all right? Okay? All right, get your breath. All right, let's go.
While Shannon was on floor, China's Mo Huilan was on balance beam.
Well, Mo Huilan at the 1995 World Championships in Sabai started on this apparatus. She was one of the favorites to win the all-around gold, but she fell on her dismount. Her dismount has been her nemesis on this balance beam routine.
Prior to this, Dawes, Krachikova, Miller, Mo Huilan, all the way down through 6th and 7th place. No more than 1.5 tenths away from each other, Tim.
Very, very tight race at this point in time.
That 9.475 will drop Shannon. We'll have to see how far it pushes her down.
One of her key tumbling skills right here. Watch how high she takes this. Yan Yan, who is Li Ning's wife, was telling me the other day that this can be a mental block for her. When the routine goes so right, she is so afraid of this right now. Oh.
That was a huge step, but she's still got a score of 980.
Yeah, I don't, I really don't understand that.
Yeah, that's very high.
That was a big deduction.
Hey, all right? Stop crying. There's people everywhere. Stop crying. Just suck it up. Let's go, okay? All right? You got one more. You got ball to go. Hit it. That was a tough step out.
Shannon Miller, her score from floor, 9.475. That may take her, will take her, rather, way down in the standings. A sad time for her. Dominique Dawes will be up on floor next. She stands in first place in her second Olympic Games.
NBC's coverage of the Centennial Olympic Games is brought to you by Bell South, keeping you ahead of the game, and by Warner Brothers, A Time to Kill, now playing at a theater near you.
Dominique Dawes on floor exercise. You've heard me say this before, but if it ended right here, she would win the gold medal in the individual all-around. She has 2 more routines to go.
Not at all surprised that she's in this position. She had the second highest all-around score in the team optionals behind Romania's Simona Amanar.
And these are 2 great events coming up floor and vaulting later. Strong events for her.
Shannon Miller can only sit stunned after what happened to her. Knocked herself well out of second place. We'll keep you updated on her position. But for now, here is Dawes.
Unreal, John. That is a huge deduction right there.
Come on, Dominique. Dominique, stop. You can. Just hang in. Take a deep breath and clear it out. Take a deep breath.
That's right, Dom.
Remains to be seen what the judges will do with that mistake. But Dawes knows it was huge. Mo Huilan watching all of this. One of the favorites here. And these were the girls, Shannon Miller and Dominique Dawes. Only 48 hours ago won that team gold medal. Right now they're experiencing 2 very different emotions. is a very low score, and although the crowd is booing it, she will have to take it.
And she can't even look at it, John, and that obviously will end her dream for an Olympic all-around medal.
With so many of the top gymnasts in the top 10, including this lady, Mo Huilan, it'll be impossible for Dawes mathematically to climb back there. And she knows it, like you said, Tim, without even looking. Dawes and Miller, they're living in the same world right now.
Do the best you can. That's what you're going to end up doing, correct? Let's do the best we can, okay? And in your heart, it's an enjoyable experience, okay? Come on. These people came to see you. Do good, okay? All right, let's go.
Well, the two Americans were on floor. Lavinia Milosevic over on the beam. She is in 9th place after 2 rotations. Those are Dawes cheers that you're hearing there over Milo's beam.
Well, we've seen it before, but what this competition is turning out to be is capitalizing on other people's mistakes. And I wouldn't give this lady too much room here, because she could certainly run with it.
Only 3.5 tenths of a point separate the top 15 gymnasts from each other. One tiny mistake can drive you down into 25th place. Milo is trying to gain respect for her Romanian team. Not that they need it from their history, but they had a terrible time during the team competition, which began when they first arrived here in Atlanta. One of their key players, Anna Marie Bican, destroyed her knee to pull out. So that was Milo's routine on the beam.
Well, it's amazing to see how some of these athletes perform with and without their teams, and she's strong all around. Well, she may be 19 years old, but this is still a big-time tumbling pass. 4 elements in a row with 2 layouts in between. Excellent.
And you said it, Elfie. You give this person the chance to capitalize, and this is what she does. She goes for it.
She finished 3rd in the all-around 4 years ago in Barcelona. The team won a silver, and her score for that routine was a 9.775, which should help her move up from 9th place. Dominique Moceanu also trying to climb out from the depths of the standings. Dominique Dawes still trying to recover after her floor exercise. Shannon Miller behind her, still trying to recover from her last exercise, also floor exercise. The 2 of them, Dawes was in 1st, Miller was tied for 2nd. On floor, Simona Amanar. Dominique Moceanu will be preparing to vault. We'll bring that to you. She has also been struggling. athletes tonight getting a second chance here. Dawes' second Olympic Games. Shannon Miller, after being shut out of the gold 4 years ago. Dominique Moceanu is in the individual all-around because of Carrie Struck's injury. And this young lady, Simona Amanar, put in at the last minute by her Romanian coach. Simona Amanar in 7th place, but only out of first by 1/10. While that was going on, Dominique Moceanu unleashed her first vault of 2. Here's what that looked like.
Remember, she had problems with this in the team competition.
Well, she stood it up this time, Tim, but it was a substantial hop.
Now here is the second one. And much better than in the team competition for sure.
That's the best I've ever seen her do it.
Oh, God. Well, that's what we're supposed to do. All right, little piggy. Good job.
So much pressure for this little 14-year-old.
That was beautiful. She's very tiny, but she took that vault straight up into the sky. Perfect execution, and it fell into place. It was beautiful. This is what she needed in the team competition. Yurchenko vault, blind landing, remember. She has to totally go by her feel in the air, and she just nails it. It's perfectly done.
And when her score comes up, her vault average a 9.706, and more disapproval from this crowd. Simona Amanar's score 9.737. That will move her up from 7th place entering this rotation. Dina Kochetkova on floor. She was tied with Miller in 2nd place entering this rotation. And you know what happened to Shannon here. At this moment in time, China's Mo Qilan is in the lead. If Kochetkova scores 9.788 or more, she'll take the lead from Mo. Shannon Miller has dropped back into 7th so far. Year-old Dina Kochetkova, and celebrating her birthday in 2 days on one of the off days here at Gymnastics. And now it's a question of who wants this gold medal. Will it be Amanar? Will it be Kochetkova? Or will it be Podkapayeva, the reigning world champion? We'll see her next on beam. World champion Lilia Podkapayeva with 4 athletes between her and 1st place. With this field, she will have to be world championship tough. Will Lilia Podkapayeva dance her way to gold? When a young Lilia was brought to the training center, she was told by her grandmother, do well or do not bother. Perhaps that is why she has worked so hard, trained so long for this moment. She is watched over by a former all-around champion, Ludmila Teresheva, the last woman to follow a world championship with an Olympic gold. Lilia does get out of the gym. On her day of rest, she and her coach often take a cultural tour of Kiev, sometimes the museums, sometimes the ballet, always with an eye on improving.
First off, we learn art, choreography. We learn artistry. It's very helpful in the floor exercise and in exercises on the balance beam.
Lilia was not a child prodigy. She was not a can't-miss gymnast. She has earned this opportunity to bring the first gold medal to an independent Ukraine. Well, tonight, it is the Olympic Games. She must be a prodigy, and she must be a can't-miss gymnast. She's in 5th after 2 rotations. Lilia Podkapayeva on the beam.
John, in 1985 at the Worlds, she was really the underdog. She took advantage at the last World Championships of others' misfortunes. This is the same situation again tonight.
Earlier this year, while she was training on the beam, she fell and broke one rib and cracked another one. Should tell you that after her floor exercise, Dominique Dawes has now slipped back to 14th place. Out of 1st to 14th. We'll keep you up to date.
It's obvious in her work that she's paid a lot of attention to the dance element. She has the big skills, but as I said off the top of the show, she's a package gymnast.
Kochetkova and Mohuilan are tied for 1st. And Lilia needs a 9.819 to take the lead away from them.
Great exercise. As I said, she had all the difficult skills, and she's a pretty dancer. And the dismount really put a stamp on it. It was very difficult as well.
Kochetkova's score on the floor, 9.787. So that ties her, as I mentioned, with Mo Huilan. And now the 2 of them are in 1st place. We'll see if Podkapayeva's score is better than that needs, and if she takes 1st away from them. Score on beam 9.787. That does not take the lead. So Podkapayeva is in 3rd. And there's a tie between Mo Huilan and Dina Kochetkova from Russia. Who will win the gold medal? The final rotations coming up. Welcome back. Standings after 3 rotations of 4. Mo Huilan and Dina Kochetkova are tied for 1st. In bronze medal position at this point is Lilia Podkapayeva and Dominique Dawes. She has slipped back into 20th place now. She was our leader, but after her floor exercise, that's what happened. Shannon Miller stands in 10th place. The 2 of them look about as dazed as 2 athletes can be. But here is the leader, Mo Huilan, who will be last to go on floor exercise, and she is terrific on it.
and you couldn't ask for a better lineup. She is leading the competition, and she gets to go last. She gets to know exactly what she needs to do to be the all-around champion.
Floor exercise, Lavinia Milosevic is 5th, entering this last rotation. That's her coach, Octavian Bellew. They have been through a lot together.
Well, Lavinia typically scores in the 9-8 range on her optional exercise, and she is the 92 Olympic champion on this event.
At age 9, she came down with scarlet fever and almost quit gymnastics altogether. When she works out, Bellew says that sometimes she listens to and watches Rocky III. So she likes that come from behind story. She would have to do that now. She's a 10th and a half out of the lead, now held by Mohui Lan and Dina Kochetkova. And they know who she is here. Gymnasts who are not Americans have had to, and that is applause when Dominique Dawes vaults.
Well, it's been 4 years, but one thing that has not suffered in this routine is her tumbling. That's what she's been known for, and it was strong in this exercise. This is very difficult to do after a minute and approximately 25 seconds of tumbling and dance, full twisting, double back somersault. She's out of breath.
Again, while she was performing on floor, Dominique Dawes was on vault, and it was those oohs and ahs and cheers that you heard in the background. Hello, Lavinia. She's had such a tough time of it since they lost 2 of her team members. One to a severe knee injury. Competed with 6 team members instead of 7. Now we're going to show you one of those vaults from Dominique Dawes. This is her second vault.
Well, just not her day today, John. That vault she can do in her sleep.
And her vault average from the 2 in 9.681. Over the bars now. Dominique Moceanu for her last routine of her first Olympics. Let's go back and clean up Milosevic's score for you. 9.812. That will move her up. In fact, that has put her in first place. Of course, Kochetkova and Mohui Lan still to come.
What it does also, it puts a little bit of pressure on the athletes that are yet to come.
She's just about ready to go, Moceanu.
Well, during the entire time when she was nursing her injury, one event that she worked very hard on was the uneven bars, and she, in fact, has added a more difficult dismount, which she did in the team optionals.
The only member of the American team who has her own autobiography out in stores.
She has a very big look on uneven bars. That release move was a little bit far away, had to really stretch for that bar. Here's that dismount LP was talking about.
Dominique Moceanu. Carrie Strug, very responsible for her being here in the individual all-around. And we will see her in the Olympics again, I am sure. At 13, she became the youngest ever U.S. national champion.
And you know, John, on that dismount, she made a veteran correction. She got a little bit hung up, didn't have quite as much rotation as she's used to, and had to pike her body on the second flip. This was amazing.
It was much better in the team competition. Right there, she pulls in. She was afraid she wouldn't make it around.
I don't think she would have, but great correction.
It's almost like the Americans very nervous when you take a look at Simona Hamanov, Romania.
This is a big vault. One of the most difficult vaults that's being performed in this competition, double twisting Yurchenko. She made it look way too easy.
I was saying, I think that the Americans appear nervous without their other teammates. Seems like they were much more relaxed when the other four were there. Simona Hamanov, who replaces Alexandra Marinescu. It was Octavian Belou's decision. He said he didn't feel Marinescu was working hard enough, even though she did qualify for the all-around, and Hamanov did not. 9.812 is a huge score, and so Belou's decision might prove to be a good one. She could medal.
She's going to do the same second vault, John, and you know, she can make a really slight improvement cleaning up that landing. That's all she needs to do.
Another big one for Hamanov. We're still waiting for Dominique Moceanu's score on bars. Let's take a look at this.
Obviously not unprecedented for someone who didn't qualify automatically into this event to win this title. 4 years ago, it was Tatiana Gutsu. That's a beautiful vault.
Moceanu's score is up 9.762. Hamanov still waiting for her average. A 9.843. She is tied with Milosevic for first place. Somebody who can take it all away from them.
Well, she was having some trouble in the warm-ups, and in the team competition, she did actually 2 different vaults, and I can see the number that she's posted. She's going for the more difficult one, which is obviously a very smart move. This vault she's going to perform is valued out of a 10.0, so she's going for the huge vault.
It's a 9.67 for the lead.
That's not going to get a great score. Really weak off the horse.
Yeah, that definitely should not get it. Low block off the horse, the low landing and the stumble.
She trains under Leonid Arkayev, who led the American men to the team gold earlier.
She didn't even have an opportunity to get any height off the horse. Take a look how she enters this vault. Really bent arms, very, very low, not even a pretty body position in the air, and of course the landing. So tons of deductions on that vault.
The scoreboard here gives the people in the Georgia Dome an idea of who is in the lead, of course, and they have now seen the Americans drop way out of it, and so it is uncharacteristically quiet.
Oh, yeah. It is not going to happen.
It's over.
It's almost like it's a jinx to be in that first position in the standings.
What she should have done was perhaps go to her, use her less valued vault, which was out of a 9.9. She can do that one a lot better. But in this type of situation, it'd be silly to go into an event with a starting value less than 10.0. So that was her decision.
You're also going to see Shannon Miller later on the vault. Dominique Dawes sitting there. Lilia Podkapayeva. There's Mo Whelan still to come. So with Milosevic and Amanar tied for first place, Podkapayeva can take it away from them easily. She was in third entering this rotation. And now Lilia Podkapayeva. At this point in time, she needs a 9-7 to take the lead. That doesn't mean she'll hold it. Everyone is so close in the top 6 that any of the top 6 could win the gold medal here in Atlanta. Mogi Whelan will perform last. She gets a chance to see Podkapayeva first. Lilia Podkapayeva, who is preparing herself to go to law school after her gymnastics career.
Oh, that was a great, great performance, John. Her coach, Galina Ivanova, said she wants her to always pretend to be an actress on stage, just smile while she dances. And I said it before, it's a total package. There's dance, artistry, and difficult tumbling. She didn't give anything away in that routine.
I want to take you back to the bars for a moment to show you Svetlana Khorkina's routine. She was one of the athletes who could take the lead, and then this happened.
And that is her own new element, her own skill, and that takes her out of the hunt for an Olympic medal.
Remember, the Russians fell to the Americans 2 days ago, and now Khorkina is left with that. Lilia Podkapayeva waiting for her score. We'll be back with that.
NBC's coverage of the Centennial Olympic Games is brought to you by IBM, creators of the official Atlanta Games website, and by Hollywood Pictures, Jack, starring Robin Williams, coming to theaters August 2nd.
Lilia Podkapayeva, a congratulatory kiss from Milo, and she deserves it. A 9.887 for her floor. One of the highest scores that we've seen so far here in the individual all-around. And so what this means is the rest of the athletes who are challenging her for the gold will have to post near-perfect scores to take it away from her. Let's go over to the vault now. Gina Gojin, for example, her score would need to be a 9.956 to win the gold.
And I suppose it is possible for Gina because she's performing a vault that start values at 10.0.
Not possible anymore, though, John.
Gojin fourth entering this rotation, but only 1/10 out of first place. Last minute instructions for the second vault from Octavian Belu.
Well, the Romanians as a team are very strong on this event, and Gina is as well as an individual. 1.5 twists, it's a blind landing. Can't afford those hops.
Amazing that she's even here. Early June, she had emergency appendectomy. She just happened to be on her way to Bucharest, the only hospital in that country that does an arthroscopic appendectomy. She has come back strong in fourth place entering this rotation with a shot at a goal. Her teammate Milosevic watching her.
A little bit better, but still the hop on the landing there.
That 9.956 that I gave you is for her to take the lead. So what's going to happen between Gojin and Milo at this point?
Well, all three
and
of them.
Amanar, all three of them, yeah.
All three of the Romanians are almost in a dead heat right here.
Exactly. There's fourth, fifth, and sixth, Gojin, Milo, and Amanar. Gina's vault average, 9.775. And next to go will be Shannon Miller from the United States.
And you know, John, 4 years ago, the vault that she performed in Barcelona was the most perfect piece of gymnastics I personally have ever seen. It was artistry.
Shannon is in 10th, entering this rotation with virtually no chance for a medal.
She's chosen to do the same vault she started out with in the team competition. Its value of 9.9.
Shannon was so shaken after floor exercise.
That's why I was, you all right? Who's your brother? You okay? It's got to be straighter body, okay? And when you land, keep your arms in front of you. Keep it tight in front of you. Don't hollow your chest so much, okay? All right, we're going to see the squad. We're going to go for it. Keep it tight. All right, same one. Yep. Okay.
Miller was so shaken after her floor X. She has not been able to regain her composure since.
You know, this is pretty scary because you need to really stay focused on this event. You can't afford on the vault to be shaken up.
But this is a fabulous vault. Beautiful push. And I thought she had it. I thought she was going to nail it.
Champion in my book. He's still the champ in my book. How to come through in the end, you know? That was a great fun. Good job. Thanks, everybody.
As high as second place here in the individual all-around, she is not waving goodbye, and Dawes was as high as first.
Okay? All right. Nice job. All right, how to finish up, ladies. That's the way you do it.
Shannon's vault average 9.724. We'll see her again in event finals. One person in the dome can take the gold away from Polkapayeva. Mobilan next.
主要那会儿李宁嘛，就是练体操，特别红那会儿。
My name is Mo Hui Lan. My twin sister and I grew up in Guilin. We fell into gymnastics like many kids did. They were just seeking as many candidates as possible to select promising ones for further training. If they think you can do gymnastics, they keep you. Then all provinces will send its best to Beijing for training. Beijing was very far and very different from home. My twin sister Feng Feng and I were chosen to come here for national team tryout. The work was very hard, but me and my sister were very dedicated to make the team. After a competition kind of test, my sister was chosen to stay. I was not. I started to cry. I was very sad. All I wanted was to be a gymnast, so I fought to make team. I begged to the coach, please let me stay. Let me train for national team. That was how I finally got to stay here. Eventually, Feng Feng got injured and left for home. I miss her a lot. My father always said, a person should love the career they choose. This is why I choose gymnastics, to win gold medals and honor for country and family.
In Guilin, China, Mo Huilan's family has placed a television set atop 2 steamer trunks. On it, what we are all seeing at this moment. Podkapayeva is watching. The whole world is watching. Mo Huilan needs a 9.857 on floor. Anything less leaves the gold for Podkapayeva. To win. Otherwise, it's Podkapayeva's.
She steps out of bounds, John. 1/10 of a point. That's it.
Mo Huilan, and with that step out, she starts with a 9.9, and she needs a 9.857 to win. Already celebrating, Lilia Podkapayeva in the arms of Yelena Piskun. The score is not up yet, however, for Mo Huilan. Among the top 5 or 6 gymnasts in the world, this has been one of the most emotional performances in history.
You know, it's so characteristic of this athlete, and it is a real shame because she's much better than this, but it just seems that when the pressure is on, she falters in some way, and this is so easy for Mo Huilan. 2.5 twist, punch front. It's just way too long. That's a 10th.
The celebration continues for Lilia Podkipaeva, who believes that she's not only reigning world champion, but now Olympic champion, and probably has good reason to feel that way, as does the Belarusian Svetlana Boginskaya. If this was 4 years ago, they'd be on the same team. A 9.650. She needed a 9.857. So Mo Huilan, obviously with that big step, is not able to do it. This is your Olympic all-around champion. The first reigning world champion to win an Olympic crown since 1972. In the arms of her coach, Galina Lozinskaya, her coach since she was 9 years old. Final standings, Podkipaeva for the gold, Gojin, Milosevic and Amanar, both Romanians, tie for the bronze. And you see the Americans. Let's go down to Beth.
There was so much hype, and for a while you were very used to winning. So what is it like when it's not like that?
Well, it's, you know, of course, a little disappointing because you want to be up there also with everybody else, but it's only the second big international, you know, meet that I've ever been to, and I'm the youngest one competing, and I've accomplished a lot. And we can't just, you know, it's the Olympics, and I still got a gold medal, and I can look at that and remember, and I might have some goals after this to keep continuing, or we'll see. I'm not sure yet.
You don't want to just go yell and cry and jump and scream in a room somewhere and then start all over again?
I might. I feel like that, but we'll see.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
And so this was, in fact, a night of second chances. A night of opportunity and a night of disenchantment, where the gold is always elusive in the Olympic Games. For Beth Ruyak, Alfie Schlegel, Tim Daggett, I'm John Tesh. So long for now.